Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. My name is Jake, aka Disco Soup. We are doing the 8th day of the Character Creation Challenge for RPGs, started by TARDIS Captain of RPG.net, and of his own blog, and of a really cool Discord. As you can see, I've got a PDF copy of Knights of Gwyncarreg, and yes, that's me. I wrote this one. That really awesome cover art that you can see there, and that sneeze was not me, that was my dog. That was done by this fella, Hodag, sometimes going by Hodag RPG. He is probably the king of the kind of DIY punk aesthetic. I had mentioned him 2 videos ago when we did the Starborg character creation, because he's, in addition to his fantastic art, you can see another example down here and here. Oh, I love this piece. He sometimes designs games as well, and he has a series of really cool Star Wars inspired but not Star Wars games that he calls Solo Dags, and the Hyper Trench is kind of the name of the series, since that was the first game that he created in that line. Anyways, Knights of Gwyncarreg, I have to explain a little bit for you, but it is inspired by an older game called the Prince Valiant RPG. Prince Valiant is a comic strip that got started in the 30s by Hal Foster. It became massively popular, ended up becoming parts of movies, toys, what have you. And in the 80s, since they made RPGs of everything, they made an RPG of Prince Valiant. It was done by Greg Stafford, who did the very well-known Pendragon, which is often considered the granddaddy of all Arthurian RPGs. Well, Prince Valiant had a lot of innovations. Story metacurrency, it may have been the first game to do that. Instead of dice, you rolled instead of dice, you flipped coins. The thing is, that game did not sell nearly as well as it should have, and it's been out of print for a very long time. A few years back, Alan Barr of Gallant Knight Games, great designer, great company, you should really look their stuff up. Alan Barr got the rights, and they brought the game back for a brief time, but it's now, again, no longer available in retail. And I hate that for the game line, so I went and I made this game, Knights of Gwyncarreg. Mechanically, it's very similar, broadly compatible with Prince Valiant. However, it does not have any of the IP, and it does not use the same language terminology for the rules. Also, the XP values work out to be the same, even though they don't use quite the same numbers. They work out when you look at them from a distance. And also, I feel that with almost 40 years of hindsight behind us, I've been able to kind of format the book in a way that's a bit more accessible for modern readers. So, with that out of the way, we are going to make a character for Knights of Gwyncarreg. If you'd like to follow along, there is a link to the game in the description. Devise a concept for your character, including a brief backstory. It doesn't have to be detailed, as you can always come up with more material during play. You have 2 basic attributes, body and soul. Each begins at rank 1. Distribute a further total of 5 ranks split between the 2 attributes. Normal maximum rank of an attribute is 6. Let's go. Body 4, soul 3. Body does, physical things. Soul does mental things. Renown is measure of how far and wide the tales of your character's exploits reach. Characters who perform famous deeds become more well-known. Unlike experience points found in other games, earning renown depends not only on completing quests, but also doing so valorously and with flair. You are a chivalrous knight, unless you are not. You have to be theatrical, and you have to be honorable. All characters begin with 50 renown. As they perform various feats of heroism, their renown grows. Meeting benchmarks for renown allows a character to increase their skills during the course of the story. One thing about renown is that you don't spend it. Your renown doesn't drop when you unlock new character options, so you do have to kind of keep a total of how much you've unlocked with it. You get to 2,400 renown, and you've used 2,000 of that. You do have to keep note that even though you've got 2,400 renown, you only have 400 available to, quote, spend it. And the reason it doesn't go down is because you don't become less famous for using your abilities or increasing your abilities. So, skills. Skills represent areas of training that make your character unique. While attributes are intrinsic to your body or mind, skills are learned abilities. There are many more skills than there are attributes. When you create your character, decide which 6 skills your character already knows. Now assign 9 total ranks among those 6 skills with a minimum of 1 in each. The normal maximum rank in any skill is 6. After the game starts, the players can use their accumulated renown to increase their skills. It costs 100 renown to learn a skill or to add a skill rank to a skill that you already know. So, we've got acting, agriculture, alchemy, and you may wonder why agriculture is here in a game about knights. That is because in the original game from which we draw the inspiration, kind of in the back, there were other character options. I've kind of moved them forward to the front to make them easier to compare. Athletics, bard, which is like performing, brawling, brotherhood might need some explanation. That's like becoming a band of knights. Business, charisma, craftwork, games, haggling, which most knights are not going to do. Horsemanship, hunting, inspiration, which is like inspiring your followers. Jousting, knowledge, literacy, which is not automatic. Manners, math, mariner for sailing, medicine, melee weapons. Natural harmony, which is kind of like getting along in the forest. Precision, range weapons, sneaking, and warfare. And you have special abilities that you might get later on. Heraldry, this is how to make a coat of arms, and we can talk about that later, but I want to show the paths. So, not every player wants to be a knight, and that's just fine. This section provides a list of various paths that characters can follow. Each path requires some minimum investments of skill ranks, such as knights, needing at least 1 rank of horsemanship, and melee weapons. Some skills might only be available to certain careers. So, in the original game, you're only starting out with the default of a knight, and you have to actively look in the book to find how to play the others. So we'll just do a knight anyways, although a minstrel might be fun, but let's do a knight. So we'll start with a renown of 80. 80. Let's see. Our equipment. We get medium armor, horse, knife, sword, and lance. Fine outfit. Some gold pieces. Now, we need to have 1 skill of horsemanship and 1 of melee weapons. And remember, we have 9 points to spend. And we have to get at least 6. So let's see. Horsemanship 1. Melee 1. He is not going to be illiterate. Probably not going to put too many points into that, though. Let's see. What else would be good? Hunting, jousting, and manners. Let's do that. Jousting 1 and manners 1. Now, let's see. What should we increase? Let's do horsemanship to 2, jousting to 2, and melee to 2. Okay. So, this special ability, you have to unlock these. You can't start with them. You need to use your renown for it. But we would have the ability, once per adventure, you may subtract your melee weapons rating from the number, and that's not possessive there. Melee weapons, it's not the rating of your melee weapon, it's your rating in the melee weapons skill from the number of dice that a mob or an individual have. 2 characters in the group can't use this ability in the same turn, and using this ability takes up your action for the turn. So enemies are represented by a dice pool, basically, and as you remove that, they become weaker. But yeah, I'll show you some other paths. You can become a knave as a criminal, a minstrel like a bard, a medieval monk, not a kung fu monk, a raider, which is like a Viking, a scholar, a serf, which is a peasant, and a squire, which is like a knight in training, a trader, and like a woodsman, kind of a hunter, ranger type deal. Now you want a motivation. So motivations kind of it's like a wild die from D6. But let's see, what might we want for our motivation? I just so happen to have provided you with a handy list. Addiction, ambition, desire, fear, honor code, revenge. Let's just say uphold chivalry, because this guy is a Boy Scout. Okay, and a little bit of a backstory. So, because I am a sucker for life paths, we've got a bit of a life path option here. You can roll 3d6, 5, 3, and 2. So the background is you're born well off, source of your troubles are a corrupt noble or clergyman, and the connection to the player to the left, familial ties or servitude. So oops. Let's say a corrupt bishop, because it'll be harder to get rid of him than it would to get rid of like just an evil lord. And then so this way you kind of get a good party dynamic ready to go. You can advance your character later, but we won't do any of that. Now, we can't be a knight without a family crest, so let's go back here. There are, and I'm not sure where, but there are generators online if you want to make a family crest using common elements. But basically, these were used in battle so that you could identify whom is who. There are specific rules to these designs, and people with knowledge of heraldry could actually figure out who you were and where you come from because of them. Pretty cool stuff. So, we've got 2 classes of color, tinctures and metals. Yellow and white are your metals. Blue, purple, green, and black are the tinctures. Orange kind of came later, and it was called tawny. Then you have a field, placement, combination, proper colors, if it's possible. So, let's see. Our color, do we want white or yellow? Well, let's see. Okay, first our field is going to be 1 solid. Okay. Of what color, and then that'll tell us what we're going to be putting on it. Solid green, which was called vert. Okay. Oops. And then the element to place on it. Let's see how many elements we're going to put for probably just one, because it's usually just one. Okay, one element, and we'll roll. Okay, an eagle. And let's see, will it be yellow or white? Even it's yellow, odds it's white. Okay, it's a white. A white eagle on a green field. Okay, coat of arms. White. Pretty simple, okay? And there you've got it. We don't have a name for our guy, but we've got him ready to go. Basically, you roll a dice pool based on your stat and your skill added together, and you want X amount of successes in order to do well. It's geared toward heroism. The game is not difficult. If you happen to pick up Knights of Gwyncarreg, and you can see all the awesome Hodag art, it also includes a scenario. So, several NPCs, good guys, bad guys for you to get to know. And then this one, the Ruins of Caertan, which is Welsh for Fire Tower. The game, including any of the published adventures, of which right now there's only one besides this book, which is called The Silver Chalice, they hew very closely to Hal Foster's original vision, which was kind of presenting a mythic world, but where magic is actually really like a science that people haven't learned yet. For instance, when Prince Valiant fights a dragon, it's a giant crocodile dinosaur thing. Wizards tend to be people who just are good at alchemy, that sort of thing. And that's what we follow in our game as well. So, anyways, this has been really fun. I love me some Arthurian RPGs, and I hope you check it out.